About a week ago, I made 7 or 8 Christmas tree pop-up cards of various styles and posted them in some craft groups on Facebook and various places. And some people pointed me in the direction of a couple of other paper engineers that I should look at. And in looking at those, I found some more. So I've made another set. This will either be part 2 or I will append it to the end of that one. So this first one, and again, these are kind of proofs of concept, so the outer parts are not necessarily finished. And I'm just using up some paper I have. So be that as it may. All right, this was a Lori Whitlock pop-up slice form. Very simple. And it's not meant to pop up in a card. But that's one of the things that's been fascinating me, is how to get these slice forms to pop up in a card. And it has to be at a right angle. The fold, the apex has to be there. It's not at all intuitive to me. I'm spatially relations challenged. And so we had a few errors of the size of the card where the Christmas tree went the wrong way and some slits that were in the wrong place. So I covered up with stickers, and it's just kind of funny. But that's basically that. Kind of silly. All right, and then this one was inspired by a video I saw on YouTube by Charka. I don't believe she had any explanations, she or he, how to do it, so I just designed it myself in Design Space. But it's basically V-folds that are cut and scored. It's very similar to the Robert Sabuda one that only has, I'll show you that one. I did another one of those that's very similar. All right, this is disorganized. So this is the Robert Sabuda one. I did embellish it with some pretty little gems, fake gems. You've seen this in the other one before in 2 different styles. One where the glue tabs from Matthew Reinhardt were pointing out. One where I tried the glue tabs pointing under, but that was hard. And then this one where it's just cut out of this green piece of paper. So, excuse me. This gave me the idea, and then seeing the video where the slices of the tree were basically just cuts, and they're alternating. So I guess it is a little bit different, but it's sort of the same concept. So that's kind of nice. And then, like I said, this was where this was one piece cut from this. These folds are not in a straight line down, unlike the way I made this one. And I'm not sure if it makes a difference. But these are the things that fascinate me, so I don't know why they're not aligned. But I like this one. Simple but nice. And one of the easier ones to do. And then this one is absolutely gorgeous. This is by Peter Dahmen PapierDesign, a German paper engineer. And isn't that beautiful? He has a PDF of the file, and I translated it into an SVG and then in Cricut Design Space so that I could cut it on my machine. Embellished it a little. He said to use thinner paper for these decoration elements and a thinner foil. I used a pretty thick glitter, so it's a little bit more robust and therefore maybe unwieldy than it needs to be, but it sure is pretty. I mean, look at that. So thank you to him for that. And then this was, oh, I didn't write it down. Kirigami, I think. It's kind of a simple design, it looks, but boy, it was complicated and convoluted. And then the paper and the glue ripped, and so it doesn't open easily and stand straight. And I didn't mess with getting this to cut on my Cricut, so I hand cut it. But a lot of work for not much of a great effect. So not one of my favorites. And then this is another really beautiful one. I've done this Kirigami style of card before, so I just cut that out on some glitter. But this is by Lino Efrem Xavier Gomes. And it's a slice form, but it's got like concentric modified circles that attach to some triangular shaped pieces. And I was going to do this on the Cricut and in an SVG, but I gave up because I didn't have the patience, so I just ended up printing it and cutting it by hand, but that was tricky too, so it's certainly not the greatest you'll ever see, but boy, isn't that pretty. And of course it folds flat, so I just love this stuff, as you know from my having done 20 cards now. And last but not least, this was inspired, it's very simple, but this was inspired by a YouTube video I saw by KirigamiArt. She had a snowman in here, and different on the top for a star, but I just modified it in Design Space and decided to add kind of a tree element there. These two pieces are glued together. These folds are glued just at the tips, which I think they need to be because they separate down here so they could fold. And so that's just simple, but nice. And of course this illustrates if you measure wrong and when it folds, pieces can be sticking out, because I decided to add a star at the end. Never a dull moment. But there we have it. So those are more of my Christmas tree experiments. And it's past Christmas now, so I'll have to move on to something else.